Alright, this is the engine bay inspection portion of the Spokane Preinspection of the 2014 Honda Odyssey. Right away, it has been detailed and cleaned, sprayed out. Typically, I don't like to see that. That being said, I'm not seeing a lot of oxidation. I'm not getting any rodent smells. When engine bays get detailed, some of the things you can't cover up are, again, rodent smells. This is a V engine. So if you had coolant leaking down in there, or a rodent had made a nest in there, even making it look kind of nice like this, you couldn't hide those smells. I'd be able to smell that. So I checked for, again, rodent damage, swollen hoses, signs of oxidation, damage to the front core support and crash rails up here. I didn't see anything like that. I'm able to look down, way down, and see the belly pan down below, the portions of it. It doesn't have a full belly pan. It just has kind of some side arrow. Didn't see any leaks or messes on those. The brake fluid is getting a little dark. I'd recommend service on that. It's not an emergency at this time. I would just like to see it a little bit more fresh. As brake fluid ages, it's hydroscopic. It absorbs water, which is what it's supposed to do. But the discoloration and along with that water absorption can degrade brake fluid over time. So I'd like to see that addressed, again, at earliest convenience. Nice to see the power steering reservoir is not stained. The plastic's not crazed. The fluid is dark red, but it's still good to see that you see some reddish tint in it. Vehicles that typically hit this age, over 100,000 miles, that fluid will be quite dark and brown. So it's good to see that the power steering pump is staying cool. Coolant comes back nice Honda blue, as it should. The battery terminals underneath the cold air intake are clean, and overall the engine bay it gets a clean bill of health. One thing I'd like to mention, a special note, is all the coolant hoses and AC hoses that I've been able to, and even oil hoses I've been able to kind of see around the engine, none of them are swollen. This vehicle is about 11 years old now, so this is kind of where you start seeing hoses when they start to kind of swell up and degrade. And these hoses, even with these constant tension clamps down here, those are the big inlet and outlet for the upper cylinders. They're not swollen. The clamps are not swollen into the hose. Or rather, the hose isn't swollen around the clamps, so that's good to see. I'm pleased to say I'm going to go ahead and give the engine bay a pass. Thank you very much. Okay, this is the exterior inspection portion of the Spokane Preinspection video for the 2014 Honda Odyssey. So what we're going to do on our exterior inspection portion, we're going to walk the vehicle. I'm going to look for pushed-in panels. We're going to pull on the bumper covers. I'm checking for squareness and trueness of quarter panels, things like that. Any damage to the wheels, anything noteworthy on the sidewalls of the rubber on the wheels here. So let's start walking the vehicle. I'm seeing quarter panel is square, straight and true. These panels right here are just a skin. They're very thin. So any sort of push or press and bump on these can very easily deviate these panels into other panels. And with the way that Honda built these these windows, we've got this kind of vanity window up here, so it's very sensitive to seeing any like crushing on this gasket right here, or pushed in paneling that would increase the gap on this headlamp. So we're not seeing that. Let's keep walking the vehicle, going to B pillar is square. There's no damage up on the cargo area up there. Everything looks nice and solid. No hail damage and no clear coat damage, and no sort of scratches or mechanical damage up there. The sunroof also works as well. So walking back to the C pillar right here, these tracks come back nice and clean and clear. When we open both doors, there's no grinding or groaning or whirring on the tracks for the two rear sliding doors. Walking the vehicle, are noticing a little bit of oxidation on the alloy, the mag alloy or aluminum alloy for these wheels. Typical. I do see this a lot on Hondas more than anybody, really. I don't know if it's the kind of metallurgy they use or the coatings they use. Seems pretty common when Hondas age. Going to go to the back of the vehicle here. We're going to pull on the lower bumper cover, feeling for loose clips or panels or anything like signs of a rear ending or collision. Nothing there. Looking for gaps on the trunk. We're following the trunk around. There's this kind of like valence right here, this kind of an arrow, so it's kind of hard to see the seam here, but if we follow this up, we can see this little rubber gasket that follows all the way down, and it's nice and square. Same deal on this side, it's not missing, it's present. We're going to follow that all the way up, nice and square. Okay, rear hatch comes back good, so we're going to move to the right rear. Same deal, checking for, like, you could see if these panels of the bumper cover had been off, you might see some paint that had been rubbed off or pulled off. Now, it's not atypical to have to service something, maybe a sensor underneath these panels. It's more common in the front end than it is in the rear, but we check for that too, so I'm not seeing any concerns there. Same deal here, a little bit of oxidation and age-related wear on the wheels here. Walking a C-pillar looks square. B-pillar square. Now, if these doors had a problem or anything, they would not track right. They'd struggle to close. They would grind on the way back. They'd get halfway open, stop, and close again. No concerns there. Walking the vehicle, so the A-pillar is square. The clear coat on the mirror caps comes back good, and a little bit of oxidation on the front right wheel. Moving to the front of the vehicle, pushing on clips, bumper covers, things like that. Pulling on the under bumper cover. No concerns there. Looking at hood, squareness to quarter panels, and that comes back good as well. One thing I'm going to go ahead and add in this video, even though typically it would be on the interior portion of the inspection, is the radar cruise or the collision assistance or collision avoidance system. There's kind of a vanity cover that's supposed to pop over that little LiDAR, assembly up there. I think I know why it's down, because this vehicle is on a aftermarket piece of glass. This says Pilkington. Now, Pilkington's an OE supplier for glass for many of the manufacturers. But that being said, it doesn't say Honda anywhere. When it leaves the manufacturer, it's gonna be labeled as Honda. It might say Honda Pilkington or Honda Fuyo or whoever it might be. So I suspect that this piece of glass had been replaced at some point in this vehicle's past, and that cover there just kind of either got broken or won't reattach just through the act of replacing the glass. So just something to note. So otherwise, the exterior comes back with a clean bill of health. Thank you very much. All right, this is the undercarriage inspection of the portion of the video for the 2014 Honda Odyssey. I'll tell you right now, it comes back clear. I'm gonna give it a pass right away. Very rust-free, not seeing drips, stains, arrested leaks, anything like that. The exhaust has the typical rust-related patina for its age, but the body comes back rust-free from what I can see. There's not a lot of aero under here. The control arms look good. None of the lift points, you can kind of see that kind of white peeking out in the picture right there. None of them are crushed down. There's no damage underneath, no signs of high centering. I can actually see the filler neck for the fuel tank as well, and it's in good condition. So we're gonna walk around the back, looking at the rear aero, nothing hanging down back here. I can see the suspension. The rear subframe is in good health. There's no flash rusting that's built up on that frame. It's good to see. It's nice to see clean undercarriages on these vehicles. Moving to right rear, same deal here. You can kind of see the canister exhaust, the muffler right here. Good condition. It's actually still showing some of its mild steel original finish. It's not significantly rusted. Exhaust hangers there. Fuel lines, brake cables, those all come back good. Following up to some front aero. There's a very odd kind of little, kind of looks like, I think it directs wind to keep it's a piece of plastic that they bolted to the underside of this vehicle, and I believe it probably acts as a diffuser to keep some sort of vortex down underneath the vehicle, maybe like a harmonic, a wind harmonic at speed, maybe it whistled or something like that. It's kind of interesting to see. So under the front of the vehicle, I can actually see one of the forward oxygen sensors. It's in good health. The wiring is not frayed or torn, and there's no leaks on the front of the vehicle. So I'm going to give this vehicle's undercarriage a pass. I'm very pleased to see this. I inspect lots of vehicles with tons of rust and flash rusting, and I really have to make an assessment on those. On this vehicle, it's headache free. There's no assessment. It comes back clean, no rust. Thank you. All right, this is the interior inspection of the 2014 Honda Odyssey. Not much really came back. HVAC system works like it should. Now, it's really important in these vehicles for these people carriers, all the AC controls and systems work for all the passengers, and I'm pleased to say it does. All the vents back here blow nice and strong. There's no weird smells in here. I don't like seeing that the mats have been thrown away or deleted. I can't tell you when and where in the chain of auction and trade-in that stuff happens. I see that a lot. I think what happens is they do get dirty and filthy, and dealers or auction houses make an assessment to where maybe they're just so filthy and dirty looking they don't even try to clean them because it's not worth the labor, so they just throw them out. But still, I don't like to see that. I like that just to be disclosed, because then you got to go track down a couple $100 worth of mats. You got to solve that problem right away. You don't want your kids in here and making messes all over the floor and stuff. There's a really big kind of a portal hatch under here that I can't quite get up because it runs underneath the vehicle. I assume there might be some body electronics or some modules under there. All the more reason to not have this vehicle without mats. You don't want spills and things going down in that vehicle, into that cubby down there. So it doesn't look like that actually comes up. There's a latch for it, but it doesn't come up unless you actually remove the front center console, maybe the seats too. So everything driver facing works as it should. In that regard, the car is complete. The steering wheel is not chowdered up. It's nice and clean. The shift knob is clean. All the buttons are not missing any of this silk screening style stuff, the ink on them. That's nice to see. All the window controls work, the door controls work, both the sliding door work on the fob as well as in the vehicle. You have to actually have the vehicle unlocked to use the rear trunk release, which is obviously a nice feature for security. The seats fold down, the rear seats come out. The interior is full functioning. For a vehicle that's 11 years old with 100,000 miles on it, I really expect to see more wear. I expect to see more wear on the turn signals, I expect to see more wear on the steering, and I just don't. The seats aren't torn up. You can kind of see some creasing on the leather over here, but not a concern. That's typical. I'm really pleased to go ahead and give this vehicle a clean bill of health for the interior. It's not very common that I get to pass interiors on people carriers. I usually find something. And this is nice to see that I can really just kind of give this a clean bill of health with the exception of the mats. So thank you. All right, this is the trunk portion of this video inspection for the 2014 Honda Odyssey. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a pass. One of the confusing things to me is when I do inspect these people carriers, I don't see any roadside kits. So it's a little befuddling why a manufacturer would not include a spare tire or anything like that for a vehicle, or any sort of directions or anything for anything. You would fill this vehicle with half a dozen people to not have any way to deal with a roadside emergency. So again, a little befuddling. That being said, there's no staining or issues with the trunk space back here. All the cubbies are clean. Everything back here is complete. The seats fold down. There's a little bit of dirt on the back of these seats. I'm sure because if they've been folded down or laid flat, you know, they've been used for cargo. The rear hatch is a power hatch. It closes like it should. There's no hesitation or delays in it. It opens and closes exactly as designed. It doesn't open up halfway and get confused. I see that on other products. Typically it's American products, whether it's a Suburban or a van or anything like that of the American manufacturers. These things get tired and they get confused. This one works just fine. You can push the button to open the two doors in the rear hatch. All the hot air goes out of the car. You push them and they all close back down. So it works very well. So I'm pleased to give this a pass. I'm also going to point out that this rear cargo lip, this rubber lip, is not torn up. There's not a whole bunch of luggage dragged in and out over this bumper. There is your typical scratches on this inner trim liner, but the outer paint isn't chewed up, which is nice to see. So again, we're going to pass the trunk. Thank you. All right, this is the code scan portion of the video inspection for the 2014 Honda Odyssey. So right away, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm going to go ahead and pass the code scan portion. There is one code for a stored ABS pressure sensor. However, the ABS light's not on the dash, and there's no sort of indication that the ABS system would not function as it should. Now, the code is a current code. It says that the pressure sensor inside the ABS module is bad. That could be a spendy repair, just replacing that module and having that serviced and the air bled out of it and everything like that. But again, at this time, the computers are not upset enough to alert the dash. So the way that this works is that you would have a malfunction indicator lamp on the dash, ABS, SRS, vehicle stability, check engine light, all manner of things, that if the computers themselves are upset enough or they really needed to alert the driver to a problem, they would post that code in the dash. But however, it's only stored that code in the module and it's not alerted the driver to an ABS fault in the dash. So I'm going to tell you that I'm not seeing a problem here when it comes to the code scan portion of this video. I'm going to go ahead and pass this vehicle. No other codes were present. The engine came back fine. The transmission came back fine. So thank you very much. All right, so this is the conclusions video for the 2014 Honda Odyssey. Let's go over a couple things. I did find the broken mirror. The vehicle at the 60+ mile an hour road test does have a slight pull to the left. I did document a little bit of uneven tire wear in the front left tire. The vehicle probably needs an alignment. Again, it's very minor. I have to get the vehicle up. We're gonna say on the video I did a 60+ mile an hour test. I'll tell you it was 60++, because I really want to make sure the vehicle came back solid. Now, no steering wheel vibrations or anything like that, like an issue with balance or steering suspension. However, there is a bit of a rotor run out when I depress the brakes to bring the speed down. Again, only document on that 60++ test. And the rotors were nice and hot. We really try to get these cars stress tested. We really do some hard pulls and some hard come downs to see if we can make any problems reveal themselves. So I will say that there's a little bit of rotor run out on the front rotors. You can feel it in the steering wheel shaking, and the vehicle does ever so slightly pull to the left, again at high speed. So we're going to document that. Otherwise, the vehicle comes back really in good health. These Honda has built a reputation for not making the strongest of transmissions, but again, that's all relative, because with all the failures we have all nowadays, all the CVT transmissions dropping like flies and they're disposable, this vehicle still shifts perfectly fine. However, it doesn't have a dipstick, so I would recommend to the prospective buyer that they get that transmission fluid serviced in this vehicle. If you just simply pay attention to Honda transmissions, they typically can live very long lives. The engines themselves are bulletproof. Over the years, Honda's refined the 3.3s, 3.2s, and 3.5s. This has the 3.5 in it. These are very high mileage engines and are very reliable. I would not have any concerns recommending one of these engines, but I'd like to see the transmission fluid have record of service or be done. That being said, the vehicle is in very good condition. It's got 106-ish thousand miles on it, and I'm really pleased to say that I can give this vehicle a pass. No major concerns at this time. Again, address alignment, address the tires, rotate those from front to back, get the brake run out, a rotor run out addressed, and get that mirror addressed and the transmission fluid. Otherwise, thumbs up, vehicle comes back clean. Thank you.